Well, if children know who they are, which they do, and their parents seek out the information to help them be happy in their skin, who are you to block them from doing that?
I think the important question was if children know who they are.
Children do know.
At what age?
At 3, 4, 5, they know who they are when they're twisting and swirling. They know who they are.
Dr. Phil had an absolute lunatic on his show. And not only did Dr. Phil and the experts that he brought on the show destroy this trans lunatic, but also Dr. Phil's audience started to pile on, started to laugh at this person for being so ridiculous. And this is how you can tell that the pendulum is beginning to swing the other way, that the tide is beginning to turn against these woke weirdos. It's gone too far. The image that you can see on the screen right here just proves to you that it's gone too far. Now people like Dr. Phil are starting to wake up. The experts are starting to say, okay, guys, this is enough. And then also Dr. Phil's entire audience is just literally laughing at this person for being so ridiculous. This is actually a clip from the PBD podcast over on Valuetainment. And the title says, out of their minds, Dr. Phil's audience audibly laughs at a trans activist's insane worldview. Let's check this clip out here from
Sandy Moore, a transgender activist, confidently claimed during a Dr. Phil episode that at 3, 4, 5, they know who they are in referencing to children understanding of their gender identity. Rob, if you can pull up this video, provoking laughter from the audience. When pressed about the age at which children supposedly understand their identity, Moore reiterated, and I'll let you watch the clip. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, if children know who they are, which they do, and their parents seek out the information to help them be happy in their skin, who are you to block them from doing that?
I think the important question was if children know who they are.
Children do know.
It's crazy how their opinions change so much based on what they're talking about. And what I mean by that is, it's crazy how this trans person, this woke lunatic on Dr. Phil's show is saying, well, if the children and the parents know who the child is, who are you to stop them from doing whatever they want? And it's like, okay, the same argument, using the same logic on any other subject out there, whenever conservatives and people with common sense are saying, maybe we should not have the teachers telling the students about trans stuff. Maybe we should keep that between the parents and the child. Whenever we try to say for every other subject that we should just keep it between the parents and the child, and we shouldn't let outside influences try to, push the child in a certain direction, we should just keep it between the parents and the child. They say, oh no, like we need the students to be teaching about trans stuff. If not, they're transphobic and all this other nonsense. So it's crazy how, conveniently now it should just be between the parent and the child whenever they want to transition their 3 or 4-year-old.
Know who they are.
At what age?
At 3, 4, 5, they know who they are when they're twisting and swirling. They know who they are.
Here, I want you to pay attention to something real quick. I'm not going to pause too much. I want you to pay attention to something. The voice of this person is very, very high pitched right now, trying to seem like a woman. Okay. The Dr. Phil audience starts to laugh at this person's takes because of how ridiculous they are and because of how much they are being destroyed. I don't even know, whatever. They are being destroyed. That thing with the wig on is being destroyed on Dr. Phil's show by this expert and by Dr. Phil. So much so that their voice is going to change drastically here in a second.
I wish that when I started my transition, I was able to transition earlier in life because that helps you be more feminine or more masculine by using the blockers.
If you enjoy content like this, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
This is why we need freedom of speech in this country, because let these people talk and tell you what they feel. Someone famous said, let the boy watch. Yeah. Let these people talk, because the more they talk, the deeper the foot ends up in their mouth, and the more that their ridiculous ideology is exposed, the more that their absurdity and radicalism is highlighted, whether it's 3-year-olds know exactly who they are, or Americans shouting death to America, or whether people advocating that boys can certainly be girls. Let them talk.
I'm not the biggest fan of Adam. I think a lot of people really trash on Adam, but that's actually a really good point. There's only one side of things that's really trying to shut down speech. And now, there's certain facets of the right, like, with the stuff that happened with Daily Wire and Candace Owens trying to shut down certain, ways of speaking. And there's only one side that's trying to do it on a large scale. I think for the most part, the right wing and the conservatives are trying to push for more speech to be free. There's obviously some wings of it that's not, but the left, for the most part, is trying to push for the opposite to happen. They're trying to shut down speech, and you can see that with a lot of the social media platforms, like with X or Twitter before Elon bought it, and even after. I mean, it's not all freedom of speech, you know, and then all the other, like Instagram, Facebook, all these other social media platforms, they're obviously censoring one side of things and have been for a really long time. There's only one side that's really pushing for less speech on a large scale, and it's not the right. It's the left. It's the people who don't have the facts and evidence to back up a lot of the things that they're saying, and it's more specifically the woke left, like like this person here that's on Dr. Phil's show. They would probably be trying to shut down the speech of people who and then hide behind the guise of the istophobes, right? The homophobic, transphobic, you know, all these other istophobes that they can hide behind. Oh, you shouldn't be allowed to speak because you are homophobic, because you are racist, because you are transphobic, whatever. And then that just seems to be the trump card. But it's not going to work for much longer. You know, people are starting to wake up to the nonsense, and they're starting to see, you know, like Dr. Phil's audience was literally laughing at that person's face until their voice turned back into a man voice. Like, people are starting to see through this nonsense now, man.
I think I go a little bit deeper. So for a grown man to be sitting there dressed like that, dressed as, you know, with a wig, and pushing a child to be able to make that decision, that's borderline pedophile crap. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're at that age, a grown man, saying a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, an 8-year-old can make their own decision to chop off their genitalia, then guess what? Especially in the courts, then that kid, who's to say that kid can't say who they want to have sex with? You know, hey, you know what? I want to have sex with this grown man, Dad. I'm sorry, I already transitioned.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. That gives you carte blanche. That is some disgusting shit coming out of that. And I think that what, dude, how are we even having a conversation that person is saying, yeah, a 3-year-old knows exactly who they are.
Well, it's very obvious that person's not right in the head. I mean, just look at their attire. Look at what they're wearing. And I'm not just talking about their clothes, you know? Like that grown man is wearing a full set of makeup, a wig that's dyed in 2 different colors. You know, that's not a normal thinking person. That's not a person with a fully healthy brain. It's just not, you know? And I think every single scientist, every single expert out there, unless they're biased, would agree with me that is not a healthy thinking person. You know, it's just not. So not even the stuff that they're saying, well, number one, it shouldn't be taken into account. But number two, if you were to take it into account, saying that 3 or 4-year-olds should be allowed to decide if they can transition or not. Dude, I don't even know if I was conscious at 3 years old. Like, I don't remember anything that I did at 3. Maybe like little snippets here and there. But like, I don't remember anything. I'm definitely glad that I didn't decide to transition or something. You know, like, that's absolutely ridiculous to say. That's actually like predatory, I think, to say. Let me know if I'm going too far with it, but I think that's like, that's not right. You know, that's a prime example of the left trying to prey on the minds, the weaker minds, the more pure and, you know, just susceptible minds of the youth, in my opinion. Let me know if that's too far, or is this just a lunatic, or is it, you know, a predatory thing? Anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this whole clip here from Valuetainment over on the Patrick Bet David podcast, and the clip from Dr. Phil. Obviously, I thought it was a really funny one, how the trans lunatic on Dr. Phil got laughed at so much so by the Dr. Phil audience that their voice turned back into a male voice. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about the whole situation. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Hope to see you guys on the next one.